Hey, this is Vinyl Keith with another video. Today I want to talk about the band Krokus, okay? This is the Metal Rendezvous album. Isn't that a cool logo? I've always loved their logos. Look at these logos. Hardware. This is one vice at a time. That's my favorite. This is Headhunter. And the Blitz. Now, these are the only albums I have of Krokus, okay? Because I couldn't get into the following album after the Blitz, Change of Address. I didn't really like. They did a Schools Out cover. I didn't care for at all, for some reason. So I just kind of ignored Krokus after that. But their heyday was from 80 to 84. Man, they were good. You know, they started in early days of MTV. You know, songs like Screaming in the Night. They had a video for that, I remember. Stayed Awake All Night. Those songs were off of Headhunter. That was probably their biggest selling album. Yeah, I love Krokus. But I want to tell you a story before I go through all these albums and show them to you better. Back on June 24th, 1981, okay? I'm 15 years old on summer vacation, right? Mom and Dad are working. I've got EVN, jamming in the living room on their cabinet stereo, okay? You know those big cabinet stereos, wooden stereos they used to have? You lift the lid up, and you have a turntable in there and a radio and a slot for the records. That's what we had in the living room. I had a little crappy stereo in my bedroom. I like theirs better, so I would use theirs when they weren't home. And I blew the speakers a lot. That got me in trouble. I think I blew them twice as a kid. But yeah, so anyway, they were giving away tickets on WEBN. That's a rock station here in Cincinnati. And I won tickets. So I had to call Dad at work. I'm like, because Mom wasn't going to go to that. And I called him and he goes, "Are you sure you won?" I mean, I could hear like him sighing, like he did not want to do this. Because he knew he had to go to work the next morning too. And me being 60 years old now, I get it. You know, I've worked all my life, for the last 40 plus years. I put that man through hell that night, I guess. But anyway, we went to the show. And it was great, man. I remember Krokus, even though the album wasn't out yet, they played Long Stick Goes Boom. Because that album, One Vice at a Time, was not released till March of 82. This is June of 81. And I looked it up on Wikipedia. They recorded One Vice at a Time during 1981. It doesn't say when. So they had at least been working on the song, maybe have recorded it, I don't know. But they played it that night. I can distinctly remember that was the first time I had ever heard that song. But it stuck with me because it's got a groove to it. And, yeah, it was a great show. Blackfoot played that song, Train, Train. That's the only song I knew of them back then. And then Ted Nugent played all his hits. Fantastic. But we had to leave before Ted came back out for his encore. Because it was like 11 or 11:30 by then. And Dad was like, "Keith, we got to go. I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I'm sorry, we got to go. Like, that's it, we're leaving." And I was like, I only said it one time. I'm like, "Well, Dad, he's going to play Stranglehold in the encore." He goes, "We're leaving." He grabbed me and he led the way, holding my arm, like, "We're out of here." And, I think the pot smell was bothering him. There was pot smoke everywhere in this place. It was the Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati. That holds about 12,000 people, I'm guessing. There was pot smoke everywhere. I think that was getting to him. He had to get out of there. I don't blame him. Now that I look back, I don't blame him. It's kind of funny, really. Because Dad, he didn't smoke nothing. He didn't smoke cigarettes or nothing. So smoke always bothered him. But Man, what a great show. And that's just a great memory I wanted to share with everybody. Okay. But let's get to the records. And well, the origin of Krokus, okay? They were formed in Solothurn, Switzerland. I had to look up how to pronounce that word, Solothurn. It's spelled, looks like it would be pronounced Solothurn, but it's Solothurn is how they pronounce it. They were formed there in Switzerland in 1975 by Chris Von Rohr and Tommy Kiefer. Okay, Chris Van Rohr started out being the drummer and lead vocalist. They put out 3 albums before the ones I'm going to show you. And Mark Storace, the singer that everybody knows with Krokus, hadn't joined the band yet at the time. Okay, I think Chris and Tommy Kiefer both traded off lead vocals. It looks like from my research I found. But anyway, Krokus is German for the word crocus spelled a different way. It's a flower, okay, in Europe. That's pretty common. And the flower crocus is spelled Crocus. And Chris Von Rohr, he observed a field of these flowers while riding on a train. And he went to the band and was like, hey, I got a name for us. Krokus. And they changed the C's to K's. And the band said, hey, that's perfect because it's got rock in the middle. K-R-O-K. R-O-K for rock. U-S. Anyway, that's how the band was named. It's kind of cool, isn't it? But anyway, they put out 3 albums without Mark Storace as a singer. He hadn't joined the band yet. And I've never heard those albums, and I really don't plan to. Because I'm set in my ways, and I like Krokus with Mark Storace. You know, they were kick-ass back then. Okay, so the 4th album is where I start with Krokus. The 4th album is called Metal Rendezvous, released in 1980. I love their logo. Isn't that a cool logo? But yeah, this one has Mark Storace on as the singer, Tommy Kiefer guitar, and every member of the band does backup vocals, by the way. Fernando von Arb is the other guitar player with Tommy Kiefer. Chris Von Rohr was playing bass at the time. He's moved around on instruments, by the way. He started off as the drummer and lead singer of the band. And Freddie Steady, that's a cool name. Freddie Steady was the drummer. And this is a cool album. Bedside Radio was the hit. Heat Strokes, that's a great song. Backseat Rock and Roll. I think they played all 3 of those songs that night. But yeah, this is a great album. There's a track list there. You can see it. You can always pause it to look at it if you want to. Metal Rendezvous in 1980. Didn't sell shit. I'll get to that in a little bit. The next album in 1981 is called Hardware. And all these are great albums. I'm going to say it like every time. Smelly Deli, I think, was the hit off of here, and Rock City, and those are 2 good songs too. This album is really good too. There's the band right there. That's Mark Storace. I don't know who the other people are. I can't match the names with the faces. I just know who Mark is, just by But yeah, this is a cool album too. Shit. Here we go. screwing up things. Anyway, they're just like a classic rock band with kind of on the verge of heavy metal. And that's kind of how it was back then in the early 80s. But yeah, Hardware, another great album. Now here's where they start catching fire. And my favorite album from them, One Vice at a Time. It has Long Stick Goes Boom and American Woman. Now that was played on the radio a lot. And I think still is on classic rock radio. They do a killer version of American Woman on here. Killer version. And I just looked this up because I never knew this. And you really can't hear his voice. But Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, who was just hired by Iron Maiden the year before to be their singer. He replaced Paul Di'Anno. Bruce Dickinson sang backup vocals on the song I'm on the Run. And I played it a little bit ago. I can't tell. I listened so close, I could not hear Bruce's voice in there. It must be buried in the mix. But supposedly, according to Wikipedia, he sings backup on that song, on this record. And, yeah, this is a fantastic album. Like I said, Long Stick Goes Boom and American Woman are the hits. And then they do a version of Rock and Roll, which is really good. This is a great album. Highly recommended. This is probably my favorite from them. Then we go to, that was in 82, by the way. This is 1983, my senior year in high school. This was all the rage. This is really the album that broke them through. Because of the songs Screaming in the Night and Stayed Awake All Night, those were kind of like the hits. And Eat the Rich and Headhunter. Headhunter is a brutal heavy metal. That's like maybe the most heavy metal song they ever did. This is the back. But yeah, you could hear Screaming in the Night all the time. So much so that I got sick of it. And I still don't like hearing that song all the time. Like, sometimes when I play this album, I'll skip that song. Because it's like, God, I'm sick of that song. I love Stayed Awake All Night, though. And the other couple of hits. Eat the Rich is fantastic. Headhunter's fantastic. And Nightwolf. Yeah, this is a cool album, too. That's from 1983. And then The Blitz, released in 1984. You know, and they had a huge hit on this, Midnight Maniac. That was always on the radio. Of course, Ballroom Blitz was a cover of the Slade song, I believe. This is a great album. I remember hearing Out of Control sometimes on the radio too. But this was, I think, Headhunter and The Blitz both went gold. The other three albums I showed you, they didn't sell nothing. Like, they didn't hardly chart. I think, believe it or not, One Vice at a Time sold 100,000 copies in the U.S. That's what I saw on Wikipedia. So I don't know if it's been certified since the early days, but 100,000 copies, great album. You know, they're a very underrated band. But yeah, that's Krokus for you. Fantastic band. Mark Sirachi kind of sounded a little bit like Bon Scott. And I think that's what attracted me to the band. Because I was always a Bon Scott AC/DC fan. I mean, I like Back in Black. I like For Those About to Rock. But for me, it's always been Bon Scott. And Mark Sirachi kind of reminded me a little bit of Bon Scott, his vocal range. So I think that's what attracted me to the band. But anyway, that's Krokus for you. That's all I got for now. See you next time.